After viewing the video session, let me just continue with a small PPT presentation and let us focus on certain important points in this chapter. First of all, let me tell you about cell theory. Of course, about cell theory, you will be studying in detail only in 9th standard. But just for your small information, let me tell you, the cell theory was put forward by two biologists. About the names of the biologists, you need not know now, but just let me tell you that they were put forward by two biologists. What does the cell theory say? The cell theory says that the cell is the smallest unit of life, and cell is a basic structural and functional unit of living organisms. New cells arise from pre-existing cell, and all organisms are composed of one or more cells. So this was what was said in the cell theory. Now, according to the cell theory, you understood that cell is a basic and structural and functional unit of life. Now, who discovered the cell? Robert Hooke was the first scientist to discover the existence of the cell with the help of a microscope. Now, in those days, in 1965, the microscope was not so well developed. It was very simple, very primitive. But then, using that microscope, he observed thin slices of cork. What is a cork? Cork is a part or a bark of the tree. And when he observed the cork under the microscope, he saw honeycomb-like structures. And the slice of the cork appeared like small compartments or small rooms, but they were separated by a wall. Okay, so this was about the discovery of the cell. Now, there are certain variations in the cell number, shape, and size. On the basis of number of cells, living organisms can be classified into two categories. They can be unicellular or multicellular. Living organisms that consist of a single cell are called unicellular organisms. Example, amoeba, euglena, etc. And multicellular organisms means those living organisms that consist of more than one cell. Example, earthworms, human beings, plants, etc. What about the cell shape? The shape of the cell differ not only in different organisms, but also in the organs of the same organism. For example, the shapes of certain cells might be oval, some might be spherical. So spherical means round, some might be like a cuboid or a cube shape, some might be fiber or thread-like structures, or some of them may be even polygonal. So the cell shapes are different in different organisms. What about their sizes? The difference in the size of the organism is due to the difference in the number of cells in them. The smallest cell, that is a pneumonia-like organism, that is PPLO, pleuropneumonia-like organism, they are called mycoplasma, and its size is very, very small, 0.1 micron in diameter. At the same time, the largest cell is an ostrich cell, which is having about 170 millimeter of diameter. Now, what are the parts of the cell? The parts of the cell, the first basic part of the cell that I told you is the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. This is the outermost membrane of the cell, and that controls the entry and the exit of substances according to the requirement of the cell. Another important component is the cell wall. That cell wall is present only in the plants. I told you that before. But what does the cell wall do? It provides rigidity, support, and firmness and protection to the cell. It gives a definite shape and size. It is found in the plants, in the fungus and bacteria, and it surrounds the plasma membrane. The next component of a cell is the cytoplasm. The portion of the cytoplasm lying inside, that is inside the plasma membrane, but it is lying outside the nuclear membrane. What does it consist of? I told you it is a semi-solid or a liquid structure or a gel-like structure that is found inside the cell, and it contains lot of materials, not only hereditary materials, it contains various components. The first most important component, which is called the brain of the cell, is the nucleus. The nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by the nuclear membrane. It controls all cellular activities and it contains the genetic material, that is the DNA. Nucleus is bound by an outer covering called the nuclear membrane. It has got two layers, but it is highly porous. Porous, I hope you understand. They have got holes through which the materials can enter or leave the nucleus. Now we go over to chromosomes. Sorry. Chromosomes are also made up of DNA, and they are present in the nucleus, and it is responsible for the inheritance of characters. What are the characters that we get from our parents? That is the genes. Genes are the functional segments of DNA that helps in the transmission of the characters from parents to the children. Now we go over to the cell organelles. Once again, let me tell you what are the organelles. The organelles or cell organelles are specific components within the cell carrying on different functions. Each of them has got a different structure and each of them has got a specific function. Because of that reason only, the cell is called the structural and functional component of a living organism. The cell organelles are plastids. Plastids are large organelles, but you might be remembering I told you plastids are present only in the plant cell. Animal cells don't have plastids. Plastids are of two types. The colored plastids are called chloroplasts and or the chromoplasts, and the colorless plastids are called the leucoplasts. The chloroplasts have got a green colored pigment called chlorophyll, which helps the plant to carry on with a very important process of photosynthesis. The chromoplasts also provide color to the plant other than the green color. You can just see that slide on the screen. They are not that very important for you. You may just go over the names: chromoplasts, chloroplasts, and leucoplasts. Only these three plastids are important for you.